Welcome back to Keeping Up with the X-Men. We are finally going to start reviewing Cable. Now, I reviewed this in terms of the written reviews on the Facebook page. However, in terms of actually reviewing this for video, I did not touch it yet. And the reason was because I decided to wait until this got to a part 1 arc, and we are finally here. So we are on Cable. This is issue evidently 150, which means that this is another one of those things from Legacy that got the renumbering. A couple of these books in Legacy have been renumbered to go back to the original numbering, and then there's a lot of weird stipulations as to what the original numbering is. Like, I read a bunch of stuff that said things like some of the side arcs and like certain books were put together and then their numbers were added together, and just I decided not to dig into it too much, and just, this is issue 150. This is Cable, the Newer Mutants. So that's where we are today. Now, this starts out pretty crazy, and I just want to say, and I did this in my written review for the last issue, this feels like, do you guys wish that Arnold Schwarzenegger was still a young man? Do you guys wish that we still had the action movie star of the 80s entering the early 90s? Do you guys wish that we could go back to a time when one-liners and big guns and explosions, and that was an action movie? Because that's what this feels like. It really does. So far, my experience with Cable, aside from the X-Men books, is 2 books. The one before this, so like 149 and 150. And as I can put this together so far, that's what this is. Now, this whole thing starts with Cable and Longshot going to a morgue. And then they threaten this guy so that he will leave the morgue. He's the doctor, he's the physician or whatever. I'm not sure what you're supposed to call those guys. So anyways, he tells Longshot, hey, this woman shouldn't be dead. Now, what's going on here is, this is Kandra, and she's an external. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the externals. I know they're enemies with X-Force, and there's something about them being psychic, and they're immortal. But they're not immortal like they can't die. Like, they die, and then they can come back to life. And then if they come back to life, like, the rest of them know about it or something, because they're all linked psychically somehow. And that's about what I remember. And for a little while there, I think I remember there being talk that Apocalypse is actually one of the externals or something, but I'm not going to get into that. Basically, she's dead, and she's not supposed to be dead, and he needs Longshot to touch her, because one of Longshot's powers, or his most prominent thing that he does, is he can touch somebody, and he kind of gets imprints, so he can kind of see memories and things of that nature, and it can also work on dead people. So usually this is the very recently deceased, but she's been dead for a while. Well, he touches her, and he gets a little bit of what's going on. He knows that she was in a big fight, and that she did not win that fight. Whoever was attacking her killed her. He couldn't see who it was. So that leaves them with only one thing left. One choice left, and that is to seek out, I believe it's Selene, if I remember right. And anyway, so they leave, and he tells them that they can't just simply go after her. She's very super strong, and if he's going to have any chance whatsoever to even speak with Selene, he's going to have to assemble a force. So they ride away on his rocket motorcycle to go get a team. And when they get there, they get to this racetrack, and this guy comes up, and once again we jump to the 1980s action star cliche of what Cable seems to be, and this guy comes over, and he's a big, huge dude, and he starts talking shit, and of course Arnold Schwarzenegger breaks his hand, And then this dude drives up, who's the person they're looking for, this person that's nicknamed the Street Scorpion. Now, the Street Scorpion is actually a dude that I remember slightly during the all-new X-Men run. He's this guy named Dope or Dop or something like that. It's D-O-O-P. I honestly cannot remember for the life of me how you say this guy's name or if I ever heard it out loud ever. For a long time, I called him Dupe, and then I started calling him Dop, so I don't know. I never even made my actual decision as to what or who he was. Anyways, they get there, and there's this funny moment where you can never understand what Dop says. So he's sitting there like, and then Cable responds to him, and then he does it again. He's like, and he's like, can I take my car, basically? Because there's a couple of things in here that kind of give us an idea as to what he's saying, but not 100%. Well, anyways, they recruit this guy, and it was kind of a funny scene because Longshot was like, oh, this is who we came to pick up? Are we kidding? And he's like, trust me, he's great. So now they got Dop on the team, and they go and they get Shatterstar. So now we got Longshot, Shatterstar, Dop, Cable. That is our team. Now our team goes to the Hellfire Club, and upon breaking into the Hellfire Club, they're attacked by the walls of the Hellfire Club themselves. Now, once again, this is another one of those villains that I have very little interaction with. As far as I remember, she's kind of psychic, and she has, like, environmental manipulation, like kind of what she's doing right here, where she makes the walls kind of attack them. Shatterstar gets beat down very, very fast. The rest of the guys attempt to fight. Dop has been blocking her mentally, but it doesn't mean anything. She ends up catching them, and when one of her powers is that if she touches you and holds on to you long enough, she can kind of force you to her will. And I don't remember how reversible it is or if it's reversible at all until she decides to let you go. But Longshot gets touched, and it doesn't take too long for them to get her off of him, but it's that little moment that kind of tells Longshot, hey, she didn't kill her. We're here for the wrong reason. She didn't kill her. I don't know what's going on, but I can tell that she's worried about whoever's coming too. And right after that moment, Dop attempts to take her out with his kung fu chops, and she throws him across the room. Cable shoots her in the stomach. They have a bit of a conversation, and then the conversation basically leads her to being like, look, it seemed like she was going on and on about how they were there to kill her, and then suddenly they're like, okay, well, look, if you didn't kill her, if you didn't kill Kandra, then it's going to be up to us to kind of protect you, and you're going to need us. Don't kid yourself. You're going to need us, is basically what he says, and then that turns out to not be necessarily true either, because then she reveals that immortals don't die, that she has plenty of protection, and then these other guys come out of the shadows and everything, and they're all standing there, and the only guy I honestly have experience with, in terms of looking at this just right now, I don't know if it's the art style that throws me off, but the only person I actually recognize is the big purple dude in the back. But hey, sometimes that's the way it is to jump into these books. And like I said, I have not followed Cable. So a lot of what he deals with is stuff that just really has me left behind. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of lost. And it's not lost in a bad way. I enjoyed the book, and I do feel like this is some sort of throwback to the 1980s action star. And if that's what it's supposed to be, then you know what? That's fine with me. I'm not hating it. So far, I'm having an okay time with the book. I wouldn't say that it's the greatest thing I ever read or anything like that, but it's pretty decent, so it is what it is. And you guys are now all caught up with cable. So later on.